up, everybody? Miss me? Welcome to Mash on This, Mashable's daily culture entertainment show that gives you tomorrow's biggest news stories today. I'm your host, Judith Miller, who puts the ham in shame, also known as Dory Greenberg. On Mash on This, we give you a quick rundown of what we think is the best the internet has to offer. So be sure to tell us what you think in the comments, and we'll get to them at the end of the show. Now, let's get into it. We're still coming to grips with what took place this past weekend at the alt-right neo-Nazi KKK rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. And as we struggle to find the words to accurately describe our thoughts and feelings about the horrible images we saw, John Oliver, as always, knew exactly what to say and blasted President Trump for repeatedly failing to condemn the white nationalist rally. Take a look.
It simply doesn't get easier than disavowing Nazis. It's as much of a presidential gimme as pardoning a fucking turkey. It is almost impossible to screw it up. But that's exactly what happened. So there is clearly no point waiting for leadership from our president at moments like this, because it is just not coming. Which means we will have to look to one another, because incredibly, in a country where previous presidents have actually had to defeat Nazis, we now have one who cannot even be bothered to fucking condemn them.
Trump failed to mention racism or white supremacy by name when he addressed the tragedy originally, instead condemning this egregious display on hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. That is, until now. Just a few minutes ago, after facing mounting pressure from people inside his own agenda-loving cabinet, Trump finally had this to say.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law.
You heard the man. Trump read that teleprompter and displayed a more forceful criticism of racism in this country, mostly because people told him to. Now, while Trump seems to have a hard time explicitly saying that white supremacy is bad, he seems to have no problem at all taking aim at the free press. In a pretty poorly timed video released by his re-election team, there is a moment where it's made pretty clear who Trump and his team think the true enemies of the state really are. Take a look.
The stock market, all-time record highs, the strongest military in decades. The president's enemies don't want him to succeed, but Americans are saying, let President Trump...
Yeah, Trump just said that his enemies are journalists. This is, of course, after he declared that the press was the, quote, enemy of the American people back in, geez, was it only just February? God, it feels like an eternity since then. Anyway, as someone who attempts to be a journalist and who works among incredible journalists, I can tell you that this in no way intimidates us or will change anything about how we report on Donald Trump and his train wreck of a presidency. But what do you make of Trump trying to vilify the free press? Let us know in the comments. I can't wait to read the ones with all the spelling and grammar mistakes. They're my favorite. You guys, the solar eclipse is just 1 week away, and we are P-U-M-P-E-D, pumped. We've ordered our glasses and are ready to head to the roof to take in the amazing natural phenomenon that is a solar eclipse. But for those of you who are also planning on taking in the magic, you gotta make sure you aren't getting a faulty pair of glasses. A Portland, Oregon-based photography company recently found out that the solar filters they had purchased were not safe for viewing the eclipse. Where did they buy these filters, you ask? None other than Amazon.com. That's right, the e-commerce giant that has been crushing it lately finally made a mistake. Apparently, even though the lens caps had the proper ISO number, which had been verified to comply with international safety standards, Amazon said the supplier could not confirm that the item came from a recommended manufacturer. Therefore, Amazon is issuing full refunds for customers who purchased solar eclipse viewing glasses that fit this description. After the recall, 2 separate Amazon solar eclipse glasses sellers called the Portland Photography Company and claimed that their products were verified safe and manufactured by companies approved by NASA, and that they're stunned by Amazon's actions. They're like not believing it. Amazon did not reveal how many glasses have been recalled or how much money has been refunded, but all you really need to worry about is making sure you double check if your glasses are safe for viewing before next week. We happen to have a very nifty buyer's guide for solar glasses up on Mashable.com with a link where you can find glasses that are good to use, so make sure to visit it today. Here's some mildly earth-shattering news for some of our viewers. After 15 glorious years, ABC is saying goodbye to showrunner extraordinaire Shonda Rhimes. After her ABC contract expires next June, the mastermind behind the never-ending series Grey's Anatomy and the red wine and popcorn for dinner show Scandal will be making her way to, you guessed it, Netflix. When the Wall Street Journal first reported the news, the financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. But since Rhimes was earning an estimated 10 million buckaroos from ABC, we can deduce that Netflix is probably shelling out at least that much and likely more to have Shondaland on their roster. As much as this is shocking news to many of us, this Netflix deal has actually been in the works for months, and Rhimes let ABC know a while back that she intended to move on after her deal ended. This news also comes on the heels of reports that Netflix has accumulated $20.54 billion in long-term debt and obligations. So the knowledge that Shonda Rhimes fans will now be flocking to their platform probably has the studio execs breathing a small sigh of relief. Plus, this move will give Rhimes the ability to work in any genre and format she wants. Imagine how awesome it would have been to see Viola Davis drop some F-bombs in How to Get Away with Murder. We want some Shondaland TV MA-rated content, baby. But what will become of TGIT? How will we survive Thursday nights? Well, with Shonda Rhimes gone, will NBC dominate Thursday nights once again? Nah. Now, I want to take a second to talk to all my ladies out there watching. What's that, girlfriend? When was the last time you thought to yourself, hey, why do guys get to have dangling things between their legs and therefore have all the fun? It was yesterday, right? I think about it almost constantly. But now there's some good news because someone has made a version of the family jewels for her. Introducing Beach Tail, a glittery charm designed to embellish your genital region while you're at the beach. All you have to do is work a small metal chain inside your bikini bottoms where it will definitely rub up against your poor, defenseless, and very dull labia majora. Once it's hooked in there, chains adorned with Swarovski crystals will dangle from your crotch, where we can only assume that they'll scratch up your inner thigh, and if you're #blessed with warm weather, they'll give you a cute little burn from the silver-plated metal. The Japanese retailer Bodivas or Bodivas, is behind this very thinly veiled assault on women's genitalia. And while we're usually super down for Japan and all its fun quirks, they do have a slight history of pushing things a little too far sometimes. Beach tails range in price from $19.50 to $22.50. So if you believe that your vagina's dignity is worth well beneath that, then you can pick them up on Etsy, eBay, and Amazon. all I could have hoped for after coming back from my vacation in Italy was a story involving farts. And it seems as though the flatulent gods have smiled upon me today. Remember the Backstreet Boys? Brian was the hot one, Nick was the blonde hot one, Kevin was the old one, AJ was the yappy, intense one, and Howie was, I guess the sensitive one, but I've always thought it just looked like he had a lot of gas. And it turns out I was right. In a recent interview with Billboard, AJ recalled the time the band was recording their song, The Call. And while Howie was in the booth recording the vocal breakdown, he farted so loudly that it was caught on the tape. But this man apparently has musical talent both up and down because he cuts his cheese on key, which allowed the producer Max Martin to turn the fart into a bass sound, which made its way onto the final cut of the song. Listen if you can hear it.
You're really jumping now. I think my battery must be low. Listen, if you can hear me, we're going to this place nearby, all right?
Oh, you can't, right? It's in the dun 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 part. But it's all mixed out. It's incredible. But to all the diehard Backstreet Boys fans out there, congratulations. You have been getting your groove on to fart noises since 2001. Woo! Backstreet Boys! That's my favorite.